Welcome to a Legendarium special about the life of Conrad Dippel, the possible real-life inspiration for Dr. Frankenstein. In this episode, we will talk about the life and works of Conrad Dippel, one of the most controversial alchemists of the early modern age. Johann Konrad Dippel lived from 1673 to 1734. Fittingly, he was born in his family's ancestral seat, Castle Frankenstein, near Darmstadt in modern-day Germany. Little is known about Dippel's early life, save that he came from an aristocratic family which could afford to send him to university. He studied theology, philosophy, and alchemy at the University of Gießen and earned a master's degree in theology in 1693. During his formative years, Dippel often got into trouble because of his arguments with professors, unorthodox ideas about Christianity, and his habit of not repaying his debts. Once, the church found him guilty of heresy and banned him from publishing any more books under his name. When Dippel defied the church and kept on publishing, they imprisoned him for as long as 7 years. After his release, Dippel would publish his works under the pen name Christianus Democratius. Having received an education that partly included the medical sciences, Dippel set up a laboratory at, where else? Castle Frankenstein. There, Dippel spent his time studying alchemy. In the 18th century, alchemy covered a wide range of activities that we would today describe as chemistry, with the goal of turning lead into gold. Of course, in the meantime, alchemists like Dippel paid the bills with other pursuits. By the early 1700s, Dippel had created an animal oil made out of bones, blood, and other animal products. He marketed his concoction as Dippel's oil and claimed to have discovered that other great goal of alchemy, the philosopher's stone, or an elixir of everlasting life. Supposedly, the oil helped to cure pains associated with pregnancy, but many began using it for the tanning of hides. A professor who complained bitterly about Dippel's unorthodox ideas about Christianity also praised him in a backhanded way. He noted, "Dippelius was an excellent chemist and a good physician, and this procured him many friends and admirers, as all men are fond of riches." This faint praise hinted that Dippel's real pursuit was making money from peddling false hope to the desperate or foolish. He did happen across one truly valuable commercial product during his career. In 1704, while he stayed in Berlin, Dippel and the manufacturer Heinrich Diesbach used Dippel's oil instead of potassium carbonate in the production of red dye. To their surprise, they obtained a vivid blue dye called Prussian Blue or Prussian Blue. Together, they founded a factory in Paris to produce Prussian Blue dye. Yet more nefarious activities captured the imagination of people around Castle Frankenstein. In the production of his oil, Dippel was almost certainly an avid dissector of animals. Yet rumors spread among the nearby villagers that Conrad Dippel was attempting to transfer souls, in which he used a funnel, hose, and lubricant to transfer a soul from one corpse to another. And since he already used parts of slaughtered animals in his experiments, it became all too easy for the townspeople to believe him guilty of exhuming human corpses to further his experiments with soul transference. Though the local people feared Dippel, it was a duel with a rival nobleman that ultimately forced him to flee Castle Frankenstein. After killing a rival on the field of honor, he had to flee to Gießen, where he had attended university. From the records available, he never married, nor did he have any children. Nonetheless, Dippel made a new lab in Wittgenstein, funded by the revenues from his blue dye factory in Paris. At this point in his life, historical records about him became vague and even folkloric. At least one local minister accused Dippel of grave robbing, experimenting on cadavers, and keeping company with Satan. While Dippel kept to himself and his work, he perhaps helped to spread the rumors that he had sold his soul to the devil in exchange for secret knowledge. His reputation as a dark sorcerer allowed him to find audiences with those willing to pay for his knowledge of the philosopher's stone. Indeed, he lectured at a number of universities such as Strasbourg in France. He died at Wittgenstein Castle near Bad Lasp in 1734 around the age of 60, probably from a stroke, though some suspected poisoning. By the time he died, he wrote over 70 works on mathematics, chemistry, and philosophy. Supposedly, one of his last works included a claim that he would live to the age of 135. If so, he was off. While Dippel had likely been an avid dissector of animals, the worst stories about him were probably nothing but tall tales, ones that he himself had helped to spread. Yet the legend of Conrad Dippel became cemented almost a century after his death, when Mary Shelley and her family went on a vacation up the Rhine River. In her secret memoirs, Shelley wrote that she used Dippel's oil to help her during pregnancy, and it is probable she visited Castle Frankenstein during her trip to the continent. Could the story of Conrad Dippel, or at least the version passed down, have inspired Mary Shelley's Victor Frankenstein? As with so much about the man, we simply cannot know for certain. That wraps things up for this episode of The Legendarium. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, press like. If you want to see more, press subscribe. And if you've got anything to say, let me know in the comments section. Thanks again for joining me, and I hope that you have a great rest of the day.